Morning and welcome. What a beautiful day here today in Charleston. We're so happy to be together, and I'm so grateful that you're joining us in this Sacred Space tour. I'm Dina Moses, and I'm the president of the Charleston Interreligious Council. And I'm grateful to Shayla Shroff and Ghazala Javed for joining me here today. Because as you know, every so often we offer a video tour, sometimes live, sometimes pre-recorded, of different faith traditions here in Charleston. Today, we are sort of honing in and getting a better understanding of Islam in our Central Mosque of Charleston, downtown Charleston. And this morning, we are getting a sort of an understanding and having an interview with Dr. Ghazala Javed, who's giving us sort of a synopsis and a better understanding of Islam and of the mosque in Charleston. In the middle of all of this, we're also going to show a snippet of the Imam of the Central Mosque of Charleston, who's giving us a tour of the mosque. And so we'll pause and then show you the tour, and then we'll continue our interview.
Then here for the praying area. The praying area, and then you have here the stage where the spiritual leader will give a sermon. This one right here. This is a place where the imam or spiritual leader will lead the prayer. And those basically are the praying space for each individual. So it's all carpet. Basically it's carpet. And it is, designed in a way to the direction of the East Qibla. That is the sister side. That's a little area because we don't have that much of a number sisters. And then is the rest of the praying place. And this one of the writing in Arabic said, Inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba, means Allah is over watching or watching over you. Allah indeed is watching over you. That means be careful of doing anything wrong. So this is basically the praying place for congregation. Thank you.
Welcome Shayla Shroff, who is a board member of the CIC, and Dr. Ghazala Javed, who is also a board member of the CIC and a member of the Central Mosque of Charleston. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
I'm so happy to be here with my two great friends that I've known for many, many years, and we are all on first term basis. So I'm Ghazala, Shayla and Dina, and we all do many interfaith activities together. So this is such a pleasure on a beautiful morning. What do you say, Shayla, about today's choice of date?
It was, you can't expect, I couldn't even write a prescription for such a beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day to be out.
So we are just a short distance from the Central Mosque of Charleston, and we chose this outdoor location because it is very close to nature, and that is what Islam, the religion, brings us very close to nature, and we believe the creator of this world and the universe is God. We call him Allah in Arabic, and it's the one God. There is no plural of Allah, so we sincerely believe in one God. And actually, this is not a new religion. We believe this to be a continuum of what was started in terms of God's creation as Adam and Eve, and the teachings that were followed. And we will show you all the different prophets that we believe in, starting from Adam. Shayla and Dina, you see that little prophets of Islam, that is Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and then Muhammad as the last prophet or messenger from God, who brought the same message. And our holy book is the Quran, which delivers this message. There is one universal teaching of Islam, and there is only one Quran in Arabic that has been memorized and unchanged. Quran has been translated into all these languages, and I am not Arabic speaking, so I read it in English or in my mother tongue, which is from Pakistan. So, but I've learned more of Islam since I moved here in my 20s to pursue my higher training in medicine, and with the intention of course, studying and going back to my country. But again, my faith became stronger because I learned how little I know about the future. So God guided me in this direction, and it's been a very happy 40 years almost in the United States, and here I have really found Islam and had my faith grow. And then the best part is interacting with all other religion. So the core essence of Islam is acknowledging that there is a creator, and you will return to your creator. So this is a very short life, and you have to bring it to the best use. There is a purpose in life. So of course, your interaction or your prayers are to God, which only He knows, and He knows your heart. But how you deal with humans, the environment, the animal, all that becomes very important. So that will guide you to your future after the day of judgment, whether you go to heaven or hell. So that's why the purpose of life is to do good and to hope for a better life in the future. I've been very privileged to be in Charleston for 30 plus years, and I've seen the community grow. Like everybody knows, Islam is the fastest growing religion, and it is the second largest in the world. And in the United States, again, there has been records that, and Shayla was also talking about it, that from the 1700s that Muslims have shown their presence. And but I actually read that even with Christopher Columbus in the 1400s, there were some Muslim guides, Moroccan guides, who were astronomers and were in the ship, or shortly thereafter came and found America. So we are very much part of it, although the numbers are rising, but they remain smaller, and but they are growing. So when I first moved to Charleston, our mosque was just a rented place. It was actually using a school. Charlestown Montessori School is where we would go for Fridays to pray in the afternoon, and or in Sunday classes we would have there. And then gradually we moved on and had smaller mosques in downtown, and finally the Central Mosque of Charleston has been there for about approximately 20 years. So, and the good story is that it was a church that was up for sale. And so we were across the street in a smaller building, but since the Muslim population was growing, we purchased this building, and it was so easy to just take the pews off. It's a very old building that we are in now, which is 1082 King Street, took the pews off, put fresh carpet that you'll see in the video, and the place was ready to go. So it has been very enjoyable. My kids went to Sunday school there, and then all our festivals, we are very blessed to have a very good community. I think you all have asked me previously too, there are about 400 plus families, singles and families, so the entire population may be more than 1,000. One thing I will mention here that Charleston actually was a little bit slower in having a mosque, but in South Carolina, Greenville, Columbia, and the county, York County, I read, they were far advanced in building a mosque, the community there, and having very regular services. So that goes back to the early century, so they've been there for more than 100 years. Some of the mosques in Columbia and Greenville area, which we can kind of look into. But again, like we said, Muslims have been here for centuries, and then there's a big international community. So like there are both local converts as well as immigrants and their children. So I think there are about 90 countries that are represented from time to time, but the majority are Asians from India and Pakistan, and then some from the Middle East.
Well, thank you for that, for telling us a little bit about Islam and about the mosque. I wonder when did the congregation move from the rental place into the current structure, the current mosque?
About the current one, about 20 years ago.
Oh, so it's been 20 years.
Yes,
Excellent. I didn't realize it was that
roughly.
long.
Yeah, it's been there.
Yeah. And I know Shayla and I have been there. I've been there a couple times, or a number of times, and Shayla as well. And the mosque has been so welcoming of people visiting. Of course, before COVID. Now it's obviously for all of our faith communities a different issue, and visiting. But I've had the opportunity to be a number of times, and everyone has been so welcoming. I mean, one of the questions that I have, and I'm sure you'll continue as well, I know there's more that you'd like to say, but food is so central to the mosque community, it seems to me. I think every single time I've been has been centered around a meal afterwards. Could you tell us a bit about that, how food is central to Islam, or is it? I don't know. Is it just a Charleston thing? Because we're so hospitable in Charleston, I don't know.
You may want to start with what are the festivals that you have when all the people come, because that's when the feast time
That's
starts.
right. That's
Right,
right. The festivals are
absolutely.
central.
Right. So one of the well-known practices of Islam, of course, the very important thing is the prayer, but after that is the month of fasting in Ramadan. So that is very joyous occasion and very spiritual as well. But it brings the family together, and then at the end of the fasting period, after 30 days, sometimes 29 days, depending on the lunar calendar, we have our festival, which is called Eid. This centers around, like anything else, like Christmas or your Diwali. Food is very important. I mean, that shows, that brings the family together to the table, and friends and family. So we start off with our morning prayers at the mosque, first thing in the morning, and the turnout is fantastic, and they have some activities for the kid, and they call it a Eid breakfast there. And then we go to our homes and have other smaller parties or get-togethers. Now sometimes, of course, it may be on a weekday, so we have to tone it down and wait till the weekend. And what's interesting is, again, we're talking about the outdoors, that our prayers sometimes either celebrate all over the world, depending on the time of the year and the weather. You can have these Eid gatherings with the prayer, the entire community shows in a park. And it is, this is the best part that I enjoy about Islam, is its simplicity, and it's that you're able to practice on a one individual basis, anywhere. And say right now, if this is going to be our prayer time in about an hour or so. So we all have traveling prayer rugs that we can pull out, and we can watch for the direction. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit more about in the mosque. But we know the direction. It's northeast facing Mecca, Kaaba, where we go for Hajj once a year. So this is a very nice night ABC News video about Hajj. I learned a lot from it. So that is in Mecca, and that's where we face for our prayers. So, and we can do it anywhere that we are outdoors or indoors. individually or in congregation. So we've had some of the enjoyments outdoors too, with barbecue and all that. So it can be, there is no set pattern on the food. Of course, there are food that come from predominantly Muslim countries, like say Egypt or Saudi Arabia or even Pakistan. We have our own, but there's the Islamic food can be any food. So we can start off with donuts and coffee here for our festival and end up with pizza, or we can have our ethnic food. And to that extent, we've teamed up also with many activities with the College of Charleston, where we've talked about food and faith. And what is very special for we do have, like the kosher food for the Jews, we have certain restrictions, but almost everything is allowed except pork and alcohol. So that does unite us, good food.
In terms of the mosque, how many times is there prayer in the mosque? And tell us about the imam's role, if you would, and how often do community members attend a service together? And what are the services called? Are they called just prayer services? Or
Absolutely. So we are required to do 5 prayers per day, and they're very short prayers, so it sounds like, oh, how do you fit it in? But you can either fit it in the mosque if you're in the area, or make time to go to the mosque, or you can pray individually, like I mentioned before. It is open for all 5 prayers and on our website, and we get emails as to the timings of that. The most required one to do in congregation is once a week on Fridays, and that is done year round at the same time at 1:30. On Fridays, and it's open to public, and that one has a sermon followed by the prayer. The rest of the prayers are just prayers, and where we recite verses from the Quran. So it's really a connection with God, to kind of relax. It's like a meditation as well, and it has its purpose. It is very helpful to pray and then continue with your day-to-day work, and you can fit it in. One thing I mentioned, that there is this Eid that is after Ramadan, and there's a second Eid which is after the once a year ritual of the Hajj. So that is 2 months, so we get to celebrate 2 major festivals. So that's
And what time of year usually?
So since it circulates every 30 years, it comes to the same time, and I've enjoyed that being in Charleston for 30 years, that it's back into the summertime. This year it started with summer, so we've gone through 10 days. It moves forwards every year. So if it was on the 20th of August last year, this year it was on the 10th of August. And then Ramadan was right in the COVID period. They did, first of all, close completely, then they opened up with distancing and very strict precautions with masks, and bring your own prayer rug, not use the community rug. On top of it, put your own rug. So they managed very well, and they remained open during COVID with distancing. And I have seen that worldwide, even in the Grand Mosque in Mecca. And I have to step back a little bit, because some of these mosques have open corridors, depending on the weather. It doesn't rain that much, so they have outdoor courtyards for prayers. And as we know that COVID is less likely to transmit if you're outdoors. So they've had prayers, again, practice distance, but that has been a very encouraging scenario for Muslims to pray outdoors during these times, and they have enjoyed that.
So there's been a certain place that people, the congregation goes to pray together outdoors. Let's say
they have courtyards, right.
Well, that's lovely. That there's no 2 pieces, obviously. That there's no limitation in terms of space. It can happen anywhere, and there's this connection between nature and Islam that I wasn't aware of. That sounds beautiful, and that you're able to pray outside just as you are in the mosque with an imam or not, individually.
Very good. I had been working with interfaith activities for 20 years maybe 25 years when it first started in Charleston. The feast after Eid, or I don't know whether every feast, it's called iftar. Iftar. So when you hear iftar, you know there is a meal after the
After the fasting, yes, the feasting after the fasting.
So it can go for every day of the fasting day,
That's
but
30
the
days.
last day at Eid time is the festivity, real festivity. And this goes all way, you know, if you go to certain mosques, you bring your food there and they eat outside. I saw it in Jerusalem, some mosque.
Absolutely, in the
But
and
people, you have to bring the food there and you share it with them.
Share it.
It's not only you bring your food, you have to share it with everyone. That is important.
It's like a potluck.
And they don't have any barriers of whether you're Muslim or not.
so this part of humanity, of caring and sharing, especially with the less fortunate ones. So the same thing with prayers. We don't have any ranks or anything. People of all walks of life come to the Central Mosque, and it's first come with the line up and they pray. This is part of the religion to respect each individual being, humanity, and of any religion. Like I said, people come to the mosque and join us. They say, can we join? And they are welcome to stand up with us and pray as they feel. Actually, one of the largest countries that has Muslims is India. You being from India, the iftars there are also outdoors and in parks. And I had one in the Marion Square one time, and we sat down and had an iftar there with some interfaith groups. So yes, food is very important.
The element of
Right.
community, all of our communities in Islam.
Right, and we do have interfaith events. We have outside speakers as well as our own imam and other community members, everybody is welcome. And hopefully we should, with the COVID getting better, we should arrange one soon, hopefully. But humanity is very, very important, to serve your neighbors, to take care of your community people, and to live as one community, not asking, what your religion is. We are all the same.
Very good. Very beautiful.
I had one more question. I wondered, and we got to see the mosque, and everyone is facing a particular direction. I'm not sure if you touched on it a little bit, but
Right.
everyone faces a particular direction in prayer, but the mosque itself, I think, also is faced in a particular direction. What is the, you mentioned, so what is the purpose, what is the reason?
So this really unifies Muslims to all of them pray in a certain direction. In Mecca, there is this black. It's a cube. It's a cube, that structure that was built by Abraham. It was actually, they say, built before that, but Abraham renovated it, and because it was when Islam. Actually, we say he's also the father of Islam, and he renovated this building, and then of course it was by the Arabs. It was used as around it they would walk and pray. So it is actually been thought that it is the center of the earth. So if you're living on the east side, you face west, and in North America we face east. But if you are in Mecca, you are all around it in a circle. So that really unites people being in a circle. And if you take an aerial view, it is just beautiful how at a certain time the whole world may be in a circle, that everybody is praying. So facing Mecca is one of the directives that was given to us in the Quran. That circle all around the world that becomes at the time of different prayers. So at one time, somebody or the other is facing Mecca and praying. So it's called the house of God.
Wow. It's a
And it has
beautiful
a lot of
image
history.
to think of prayer rugs and people facing one direction all at the same time all around the world.
That
That's
is
really-
really nice. I
never
like
even
that.
noticed that. Yeah.
The question was why 5 times? You said it is a big answer, but if you can make it short. And somebody asked, and I said, I will ask. She said, tell me where I can see that.
Yes, that's right. So you're asking why Muslims
5 times.
why the directive 5 times a day that Muslims pray and stop their work. It sounds like, and what are they doing and pray.
So that takes us to the entire teaching, what we call Islam. It's a way of life, and we said it's a continuum of religion, but it's the most modern religion, if you think it one way, that the most modern Abrahamic religion. So it has really directed us. We have all the information how to pray in the Quran. Actually, it's not man-made. It's all through God, divine direction, and it was practiced by Prophet Muhammad during his, I think, 67 years of life. He got prophethood at the age of 40. So 27 years he practiced, he lived the Quran, and so we followed. There was a communication through Angel Gabriel, and he would communicate with God directly or through Angel Gabriel, and he was in the heavens visiting also. So that is also a chapter in the Quran. But to us, how it translates to a normal life, it's first thing in the morning when you wake up. So you start in the name of God. And in that same token, you start your day, before you start eating, you start in the name of God. So you have to acknowledge God. And before you sleep, you say your last prayer. So those are the two ends, morning. At the daytime, it's like lunchtime, which is a very broad, between lunch and when the sun is at its peak, you have the afternoon, you have your afternoon prayer. That's the second prayer. The third is called midday and kind of mid-afternoon prayer, which is in between midday and sunset. So those are spans that you can do. There's a range. It doesn't have to be at a very specific time. Of course, mosques have a very specific time that you can show up to do it in congregation, but it's open. You can go and pray yourself if you've missed the congregational prayer. And then there's the sunset prayer. So the two extremes, when you get up, when you go to sleep, and then 3 times in between, which is kind of leisurely, but it connects you that in the middle of the afternoon when you're getting tired, you refresh yourself. Then about mid-afternoon when you're retiring from work, you kind of take it easy, and then about sunset. So practically that is a connection with God to get invigorated and then start your next few hours again. So the purpose of both is thankfulness to God and get the energized from that, and also seek His help and guidance to do good, to how to manage, because there are many distractions in this world. And we do believe that there is Satan there to test us and misguide us. So we have to ask for God's guidance.
That's amazing to think of 5 times a day to recenter yourself, to recalibrate, to focus on God, and to focus your work and your life on God. I think that's
And other thing I thought about it is because of time difference all over the places,
Yeah.
it's continuous prayer for all around the world.
Continuous prayer.
Continuous prayer. Because somewhere it is time difference. Every hour there must be some.
And it's a beautiful ritual. I mean, we need to wash first, and then it's not that it's you're sitting in one place. We have motions, and that again is very, very healthy, and like I said, energizing. And during that, we are reciting verses from the Quran, and so it just brings you back to humbleness, to humility, that you are just a human being, and you need to work hard. You have to do something to get the benefit. So
I have a little question.
okay.
Every time you take the name of Muhammad, your prophet,
Peace be
you
upon him.
say peace be upon him. Why do you say peace be upon him? He is already at peace. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Do you know why?
Yes, they say every time you say that, then the angels say peace be upon you too. So
Oh, okay.
and it is multiplied, and no matter what level. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, was such a humble person that he himself would ask for God's forgiveness for his sins multiple times during the day, especially during prayers when he would. And although it was known that he had the seal of prophet. There are many signs that he was accepted into heaven, just like we believe all the other prophets, starting from Adam to Noah to Jesus, were God's messengers, and God has a special place for them. But they all worship God, and they all, I think they reinforce the fact that we have to work towards getting God's grace, which is very important. We have this very important concept that ongoing goodness can benefit you even after death. You have a chance to do good in this world, but after you go away, if you have left some goodness in this world, like a fountain, and I've seen that in like graveyards, even Christian, a chair for people to sit on, those kinds of blessings will elevate your standard even after. So we could call about we talk about 7 heavens, so you can be elevated in your status. I mean, God knows more about it, but it's just the continuity of doing charity and good work, and remembering people who have passed away is so important, because we feel we will all meet in the eternal world.
I
That's
just
a
like
beautiful
the
question.
idea.
I've never been-
It's like I say to you, good morning. What do I expect from you?
That's right, the response. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
That's right.
So we start at a good footing.
That's right.
If I ignore you, most probably you will look at me and ignore me. So in this way, I didn't know this, that when you say peace be upon him, the angels say peace be upon you.
That's
so
right.
you get 10-4 things.
That's
right.
But
It's a back
I
and
didn't
forth.
know that, but I was wondering why. they
Anything
said
good you say, the angels say, they say, may your children do well, and then we believe that the angels say the same thing. We believe in the guardian angels, that they are. So there are a lot of things that are very common in the scriptures, because since I alluded to the continuity of the religion, that we believe in all the, we believe in God as one, and then we believe in all the angels, we believe in all the holy books that was revealed, except that we believe that the Quran has been preserved in its true form, in the Arabic form, and it has been memorized by lay people to date, and that it's a word of God, because no other book, which is 600 pages or more, can be memorized as it is. And then there are the messengers, there are the books, there are the angels. There is something like fate, something that is written, like your birth, your death, that is not in our hands. And certain things that I said in life, it has struck me that yes, it has, God meant for us, and that's why the world is so unified. It's not mine or thine. Nothing is mine and thine. We are all one creation, and then the afterlife. But you can do good and expect good.
Well, you have done much good today. I'm so grateful to you for teaching us so much about Islam, about the mosque itself here in Charleston, about the community here in Charleston, the way in which Muslims pray, the reason they face a certain way, the belief in one another and also God together, and the way in which we care for one another in our community, and beyond just our religious community, but also everyone who we are in touch with and caring about one another. And I'm grateful to you for doing this today and informing us and joining us in this conversation.
I will have to add that I am a lay person. I'm a mother, I'm a worker, but I love my religion. It is my guide. After my parents passed away, I mean, most of my answers I get from turning to God, and really feel that God speaks to you or sends you some messages that you can work on, and it is very important. And I know from all my interfaith individuals that I work with, my patients, how important religion is in their life, call it whatever name, but I think to have something to hold on and look forward is so important. But I hope God forgives me if I have said something which is more from my heart than from my knowledge about Islam. But I am a lay person, and we were hoping that the Imam would be able to join us and other people from the Central. It is the circumstances that we're doing an informal get-together from the need of our community. But I tell you, this Charleston Interreligious Council is amazing, and we can't thank all of you enough for coming together and working towards bringing peace in our city, and then of course exuding it to other cities. If of course there are more questions, we do have information in the mosque about brochures and Quran for distribution, and the website from the Charleston. They can click to the Central Mosque, which is also on Facebook, Central Mosque of Charleston, and then we haven't touched this, but there are other mosques in Charleston. But we have prayed in their mosques, and they have prayed in ours. So, so there's good camaraderie there. So thank you.
we really are sorry that we could not do that while visiting the mosque. Usually it is all together, and anyway we have a beautiful day and we are doing it out. What is Islam?
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be on you.
Thank you very much, and thank you both for being here. Have a good day.